In this engaging episode of the SDSS podcast, host Tim Keefe is joined by Nanda Nagaraj, Transform CX Vice President of International Sales for Sub-Saharan Africa, to introduce a distinguished guest, Brigadier General Benjamin Amoabawachi of the Ghana Armed Forces. The discussion offers a deep dive into the socio-economic initiatives led by the Ghanaian military and the expansive role of the Defense Industries Holding Company Limited.
Hi everybody, this is Tim Keefe with Transform CX, and it is our pleasure this afternoon to have a very special guest from Ghana joining us this afternoon. Joining me today is Nanda Nagaraj. Nanda is our Sub-Saharan Africa salesperson, actually our International Sales Vice President, and she's going to be kind enough to lead off and introduce our special guest. With that, Nanda.
Hello all. Today we have Brigadier General Benjamin Amoabawachi. I would like to introduce him in the podcast today. He's a very prominent figure in Ghana Armed Forces. So we would get to know a lot about Ghana and the things that he would be doing. Tim, you can take over, please.
All right. So General, again, thank you so much for being here with us today. And maybe you could give us a minute to tell us a little bit about your primary responsibilities within the Ghana military and for the Ghana country. And then we'll follow up with some other additional questions. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. It's a pleasure to be on this platform. And as has been introduced, my name is Brigadier General Benjamin Amoabawachi. Currently, I am the Acting Judge Advocate General for the Ghana Armed Forces. And I also double as the Principal Legal Advisor to the Minister for Defense of Ghana. By way of extracurricular activities, I serve on the Judicial Council of Ghana, which is a constitutional body. And then for the past 5 years or so, I have been the focal point of the Defense Industries Holding Company Limited, which is a company owned 100% by the Ghana Armed Forces. Through my role as the company secretary and the focal point for the defense industries, I have come into contact with several personalities, businessmen, both local and foreign. I have had opportunity of dealing with countless number of investors, financiers, and business executives, as I mentioned, both locally and foreign. That was what brought me into contact with Nanda. And I must say, for the past 2 years or so that we've been working together, it's been very proactive and super. So I believe that most of the things I will be sharing will be based on my role within the Defense Industries Holding Company Limited.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So in your role working with the Defense Industries Holding Company, what are the primary goals? What are the top 3 goals that you have for that organization?
Okay, as I mentioned, the company is for the Ghana Armed Forces, and our role is to ensure that the Ghana Armed Forces plays its part in the socio-economic development of Ghana. So basically, we aim at producing locally what the Ghana Armed Forces consumes, and then within the medium term, we expect that we will be able to export some of the products. Now, within the time frame, we have been able to go into partnership with a number of private companies. We set up 33 joint venture companies that are going into various aspects of the socioeconomic development of Ghana. Some are foreign, some are local. But because the aim is to make sure that we produce what the Ghana Armed Forces consumes, and by extension, what we consume in Ghana, the focus is on production. And we're concentrating mostly on what the needs of the country are, including food security, healthcare, and unemployment. So per our arrangement, we intend creating about 30,000 jobs within the next 5 years. We also coming up with various agro-based industries. We are establishing an agro-industrial park where we will be assembling mostly agro-based equipment, implements, including tractors, which has already started. We've already assembled 5 tractors here in Ghana. We embarking on a cattle ranch with dairy factories, rice production, maize production. Basically, we are focusing on sustained agriculture. Agriculture. So that is for the food security aspect. With regards to healthcare, we're working on 2 main hospitals. One is a 1,500 bed hospital, which is for medical tourism. And then the other is 500 bed hospital, which is focusing on a region where we have lots of expats, those who are within the mining and oil and gas industries. So as by extension, with all these companies and projects coming into being, we will help solve the unemployment situation, because as I've said, we are creating direct employment for about 30,000 people. So in a nutshell, that is the focus for the medium term. Yes.
That's very, very exciting. I think in the past, I know Nanda and we've talked a lot about the hospital and the medical tourism opportunities that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We have several clients that we're talking with here that are on the other side of the medical tourism equation. In other words, they're building essentially the tools by which a patient like myself might say, I need a hip replacement and I'm looking for, to do it outside the United States because I have to wait, or it's too expensive. And so this company would actually broker clinics with patients around the world, and actually might be worth a follow-up conversation where Nanda and we can present these gentlemen to you, because what they're looking for is to essentially, I don't want to overstate it, but they have clinicians on one side, or clinics, hospitals that have specific practices, whether it's cosmetic surgery, orthopedic surgery, et cetera, and brokering that with patients, and then also creating that white glove experience in the middle, because sometimes people can be very nervous about traveling. They can be nervous about going into a new place, but how do we make them comfortable with that experience of getting the medical care that they need? So medical tourism is huge, and I think it's the timeliness of that could be really exciting. One other area that I wanted to mention to you, I don't think we've talked about directly, but one of the things that's happening in the big contact center part of the world, as you may be aware, over the last 25, 30 years, we've seen large contact centers that work for companies like big banks, everybody, telecommunications companies, et cetera. In the late 90s, there was a big surge of that work went to India and the Philippines. And a lot of that was driven by new technology that allowed phone calls to go anywhere in the world, voice over IP, but also the fact that you had highly educated, underemployed workforces in India and the Philippines. Well, now 30 years later, we've seen some interesting developments. In fact, in the Philippines, I think this year will be the first time that the income that they earn from contact centers exceeds that of their offshore foreign workers, the remittances that Filipinos send home to the country. But with that has been kind of
That's
this.
Interesting.
Yeah, so with that has been these kind of contact centers are now, but they're always looking for the next market. So they went from Philippines, and then they're now Mexico and Colombia and Latin America are big. They've been in Vietnam, has been big. And I've been hearing actually some conversations with some of the large contact centers that are actually looking in Ghana to be new places to establish contact centers, whether they're work from home or traditional brick and mortar, which could be really exciting opportunity to develop that workforce in Ghana as well. Again, English speaking, highly educated, to your point, maybe underemployed workforce that is ready to step up to doing something new. So that's very, very exciting. Yeah. So what do you think, what's your biggest challenge? I mean, what you're building is amazing. What is the number one or number two things that are the hardest things for you to overcome as you build out this incredible opportunity?
Okay, I think our biggest challenge is funding. That is our biggest challenge, getting funding for the laudable projects we've put together. Now, this comes in two forms. The first being that this is a holding company, which is a limited liability company.
Right.
And so we're not able to get any guarantees from the government. We're not getting guarantees from the government because it's purely a limited liability company. And the second has been what has affected the entire world, being the economic situation. As you may be aware, Ghana is being or under IMF restrictions. So the country is not very attractive when it comes to investment. A lot of investors want to put their monies in, but they are looking at guarantees and how that will impact on the Bank of Ghana's relationship with IMF. So we have come up with a concept that is looking more to equity investment rather than debt financing. So most of our projects, we're looking for investors who are interested in having equity stake in the project. We think that with that one, the investor has his investment guaranteed or secured because you're going to be part of the project, be part of the management. So in effect, you are bringing your money, manage the project, your taste. So the time that you are okay, then you can hand over. So we look for mostly companies that are interested in build, operate, and transfer, or companies that are interested in having equity stake over a long period of time. And that has not been easy.
Right.
Because as I said, the basics have to do with the financial or the economic situation in Ghana offers some sort of confidence and guarantees to the investors. The second one has been the fact that we are not very much following supply chain management.
Mm-hmm.
And so in most cases, most of the projects and policies of the government, they look at the beginning and then jump to the end. So for instance, if it is a policy of planting for food, the government looks at what is required to set up the project. And then they look at what the outcome will be. That is when the produce are harvested. But in between the planting and harvesting, a lot of activities go on. Yes, and so because the policies don't cover those areas, we end up getting a lot of post-harvest losses, a lot of money going down the drain because we don't get the needed results. So if we're able to solve these two problems, I think that our projects have the potential of leading to the industrialization of the country.
Oh, it's very, very exciting. You know, I think it would be interesting, and I'm sure you're doing this, which is, you know, how do you create that that presentation for investors to actually help them understand the opportunity, what that looks like in Ghana, what the timelines might look like. Because to your point, you know, any investor, you know, is always going to look at, if, you know, what's my timeline to recover my investment and to earn on that investment. And if they have better visibility to that, that does make it better in some ways, you know, better than, and if we can do build, operate, and transfer, where we're actually working on a project, another project in the region where we are contracting to do several build, operate, and transfer projects. The point being, to your point, is I've got a fairly high investment in the beginning, but as I can drive down my cost by localizing resources and training at the back end, my cost per unit gets much smaller on the back. And if I can accelerate that piece in the front, the sooner we can do it, the better we off, right? For example, without naming where we're doing it, but we have a similar project, and our goal is 50% localization immediately, with the means that we're starting to recruit and hire on day one, not on day 180, but on day one, we are targeting certain roles that we think we can staff locally, which immediately starts to improve the financials of the project. Because if we're hiring locally, the labor costs are consistent with the local market; they're not different, right? We have the benefit of that. So, very, very, very exciting. I think as we talk to different, and it's exciting that we get to talk to you. We're relatively small, but we have an interesting international footprint. We're very excited. We actually are working with you already with the learning management application that we deployed in October of last year. So we're very excited to look for other ways that Transform CX and our partner companies can engage with you and with DIHOC. And we want to be there. I think it's a very exciting time for Ghana, and I think there's a lot of conversation going on here in the U.S. around Ghana. As you're probably aware, more expats are living there now. Some degree of people looking to retire because of cost of living is significantly better here than in the United States. And I think it'll be interesting to see the economy change. And you're right at the controls, General. You're getting to drive the tractor here a little bit, and very excited to see how we might be able to help you do that. Really appreciate you coming and spending a little bit of time with us. I look forward to coming and meeting you in person here in the next few months. And we're just incredibly excited to work with you.
That would be great.
Yeah, we'd love to get deeper in helping you maybe put some together material where we can help tell your story across the markets more effectively. So with that, thank you so much, General. And we'll look forward to speaking to you soon.
It's been a pleasure.
Very much so. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, General.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you so much, General. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.